Titillate the juices. You know what? Woo! Right now. Woo! Woo!
Dr. Hughes invites followers. Oh, let's see if they increase now. Me too. Yeah, wow. Dr. Hughes.
Mock-ass mock.
He's a great podcaster.
Trick-ass mock.
Acknowledge me.
We coming for you, nigga. Fat! Yeah, Dr. Hughes, here we go. Keep plugging yourself, that's cool.
First up, a man whose looks will serve your inner needs and desires.
Dr. Hughes.
Wow, we're doing it again. We have Jay Leto here from PWP. Can you hear me, Jay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're doing it right now. We're killing it. I got back in the business. And speaking of, are you back in the business right now? I haven't really been up.
I do some stuff behind the scenes. I'm not really in front of the camera much anymore, but I'm still running the Facebook page, PWP Nation on Facebook. That's where I'm doing the most traffic. It's really ridiculous traffic, to be honest with you.
Nice.
So I'm doing really good traffic there, but X isn't as kind to me anymore at the moment. So, but Facebook's where it's at for me. That's where I do the most traffic.
Yeah, I got to get back on the Facebook because I gave up on them back in the day. You know what did it for me? Before I started plugging and doing all this stuff and talking about wrestling, I was on Facebook around 2015, I believe it was. It was leading up to Trump getting into office. And I had mentioned, there was a buzz going around about The Rock and Zuckerberg actually like becoming a ticket someday. And I had mentioned that, and they took my post down and said it was too sensitive. And I was like, I just said, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? I had 500. I think I still have 500 people on the Facebook page. Go say hi to the Sleaze. The Sleaze is running the Facebook right now. But Facebook was the shits, and I was just like, I am out of here. I can't take this.
Yeah, I just was able to get the right algorithm, and just slowly over time with consistent posting was able to get, a little bit of a performance bonus payout from them, and that's just been really good. It's up and down all year, but dude, it's just amazing how you can scale just with consistency. But a lot of stuff happened on X and for other circumstances. I always want to get back in front of the camera, and stuff like this usually makes me want to do that. So thanks for inviting me on the show tonight. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you for coming on.
No doubt, bro.
Getting people out here to not be flaky these days is pretty hard. You know what I mean? They're like, everybody wants to do the show, but then they don't want to do the show.
Yeah, I try to stick to my word, and I understand what it's like to try to get people to do the show, and they're not good guests, and they, and I'm not saying I'm a great guest by any stretch of the imagination, or they don't show up at all, and they cancel last minute. I hate that kind of stuff as well. Yeah. So I'm pumped to do it.
When they're not a good guest, and then they don't show up anyway, because that's like a double kick between the legs.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're really okay, but
for sure.
Yeah. Hey, did you know I have an album out? Everybody.
No.
And Jay, yep, I make music. It's electronic music. A lot of people don't seem to care for it, but the only people they've been showing this to online are 45 plus years old, and this ain't for them. This is some yeet music or something like that. So go check it out, kids. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. I'm gonna add it to my playlist right now.
Thanks.
You mentioned I do that. No problem, dude. Because I like to. Is that what we were listening to? Kind of in when we were waiting to go on the air tonight. Is that what we're listening to?
That's right.
I love it.
Use that music, and then they can't copyright me to death like they've done before. I also have a YouTube channel, all that stuff. Go check it all out. All over the place online with this Dr. HUGENSTEIN gimmick. Got the Teespring going. Got to put more merch out there. I'm running the gambit this time. We're doing it different this time around because me. I took 5 years off. I got burnt out, and I refuse to do that again. That's why I didn't do a show last night because I'm just like I don't want to do a show tonight. And if I do, back in the day, I wasn't doing that. I just did a show every day, and it burns you right the hell out, especially when you're kind of doing everything. I got the audio podcasts up on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts today and everything. I got all this stuff going on. I'm editing this, I'm editing that, and it burns you right out, especially when you're only talking about a certain subject that is scripted. It's movie like, and then you got all this serious business going on in the world and affecting me, and I was just like,
Yeah, I know what it's like, dude. I took a step back from doing stuff like this, but I was on GTS Wrestling for a while doing various things there. So I actually got into the ring and I was refereeing matches for a few years there with Grim, doing some stuff in the backyard. And even though it's a backyard wrestling show, very much was a creative process, lots of ad-libbing stuff, but very, very fun, man. We had a great time doing it. He still does shows multiple times a week. It's pretty incredible. And but I haven't been there in probably like, I don't know, almost a little over a year now, I would say, but might make my return any day. Who knows?
Yep. You never know. Out here refereeing. Are you a cheating referee? You one of these ones that, you get distracted by anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a part of the gimmick, dude. You have to. It's like if they tell you, like, all right, so you're going to get distracted at this moment, you kind of have to get distracted at that moment. Right. That's just the part of the thing. But dude, in all honesty, like there are times where it gets real. When you're refereeing and there's actual calls you have to make, you'll sometimes see a wrestler take, especially when you're in the backyard with complete amateurs most of the time, right? There are some professionals that came through, like James Ellsworth, guys like that would come through. But most of the time it's amateurs, and sometimes they get a little bit ahead of themselves and start fighting it out for real. And if you're the referee, you got to kind of put your foot down and stop that. So, but yeah, had a lot of fun doing that. Got in the ring a few times too. Worked in a mask a little bit, worked as myself a couple times. So I'm definitely I don't consider myself a professional wrestler, but did a little bit of training, got in there, scrapped a bit, lived kind of that bucket list dream a bit there. So
yeah. I would rather have you on my TV than Pat McAfee.
No.
I don't know if you've been watching lately or keeping up on the Twitters and things, but there's Pat McAfee. I don't like it. I don't like this gimmick. Everybody like this video and share it everywhere right now. What's going on, Philly Sports Pride in the house? Shout out to you and the Eagles, even though I can't stand your fan base and I hate their guts. Good luck this playoffs. You're going to need it. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I went to Philadelphia for WrestleMania this past year, and just I'm a Giants fan, so kind of being in that building kind of feels sacrilegious to me when there's not the Giants kicking their ass happening on the field. But it was an awesome freaking experience, man. That stadium was amazing, and I got a suite. So I didn't get the suite. I actually bought into it, got lucky, got some great tickets, pretty cheap, and it was amazing, dude. It was a great experience. But dude, man, yeah, it kind of makes my skin crawl a little bit being around all that Eagle shit.
Yeah, the chanting, like, we get it. You know how to spell Eagles, move on.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Jets. I'm a Pats fan, so we have the Jets in our division, and it's just, Jets. Yeah. Oh, wow. Good job, guys.
Yeah, it's lame, dude. I hate it. Can't stand it.
And I can't stand the Giants either. How about that?
I don't blame you. They stink, bro. They're terrible.
Crazy.
Yeah, we smoked you guys though twice in the Super Bowl. Now, how old a guy are you, man? You're how old?
I'm 23 years old.
Bullshit. How old are you for real?
I'm 43. Yeah. So I took all this in. Tom Brady showed up when I was 21 years old, something like that. And I, it was all happening right there. And I was there before the Drew Bledsoe days. I was there during, people don't even know this guy, Hugh Millen, early 90s.
I don't even know that name.
They were terrible. Yeah. They won like 1 or 2 games every season. They were called the Patsies. The whole deal with what's going on now with everybody wearing paper bags, it was bad. I mean, it was way worse than it was now. I mean, Kraft took over in 93. We got Bledsoe, and things started looking up from there. And then, of course, Tom Brady, and the rest is history with that. But, yep, those two.
Yeah, Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells, too, is both coach of the Giants and of the Patriots. But, those Super Bowls where the Giants just somehow came back from behind and was able to beat the Pats, that was amazing. I just turned 40 this past year in December. So, like, that was a big part of, like, me coming up and being a Giants fan. But they're pathetic this year, so I barely paid any attention. But fantasy football is really what I go after. That's what I pay attention to.
Yeah. This is actually my first year not playing fantasy, which is kind of crazy. Because I had a league for, like, 20-something years straight. But we'll be getting back to it next year. It's funny. I actually kind of liked it. I needed that year off, like Belichick, and then I'll go to college fantasy football or something next season. But,
yeah, every once in a while, it's good to take a break from that. I took a year off a few years ago as well, but I came in second place last year, so I was able to. The way I look at it is if I rank and I win some money out of the gig, then I get to play the next few years for free, you know? So
Yep. Yep.
that's what it's all about.
Fantasy, man. I always get screwed over in fantasy. I'll have the best
Yeah.
teams. I draft so well, but my attention span is pretty low. So by the end of the season, I'll start like 7-1 every season because I draft so good. And then the end of the season, I get beat by Jameis Winston and you know all these bums out here, and it makes you nuts.
Yeah, if you're not working the waiver wire and picking guys up strategically to block them from other teams getting them, you have to do like weird stuff like that. Just work it every single week. You know, that can like win you a couple extra games throughout the season.
Yeah. I know you watch this Netflix Raw, right?
Or,
yeah. Experts. We're journalists. We're real analysts around here. And the number one story with that, of course, is Hulk Hogan coming out with the all-American beer, trying to sell it. Jimmy Hart behind him with the American flag. And then he just gets booed to death. I seen you got some hot takes out there. Do you have anything to say about this? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I do. And, you know, I understand why everybody's mad at Hulk Hogan. I think we all have for the past, 10 years now. Like, we get it. We understand. Dude, we understand why everyone's mad at him. Like, you know, I'm not telling people how to feel or to move on, but, you know, you're talking about it in the context of a professional wrestling show. He's out there to make an announcement. Yeah, I'm a Hulkamaniac for life, you know, 100%. So I get it. Even if you go back and watch the open to that Raw, and people are kind of mixed on the cold open where, you know, they had that big montage play and then they revealed Triple H. And like, even in that, they booed Hulk Hogan when he came on the screen. Like, as soon as they showed Hulk Hogan on the screen, they booed the hell out of him. So, I mean, that kind of set the page, set the table, I would think, in a way. But at the end of the day, what they have to do is capitalize on this somehow, some way. And they can do it by going to Texas at Saturday night's main event, putting Hulk Hogan back out there and seeing how they react to him in Texas. Because if you put him out there in San Antonio, he might get a crazy 10-minute standing ovation, especially knowing how the audience is different all over the United States, all over the world. The audience is different. So I think that would be a great dynamic if they trotted him out there again to do another kind of beer commercial. And he can talk about whatever, the legacy of Saturday night's main event. And then perhaps he'll get cheered. And then we'll be talking about him again. So there's nobody who's a better self-promoter in the history of the business than Hulk Hogan.
It's true. Yep. And I've been thinking about this too, Philly sports. A lot of the fans today don't even know about Hogan in his glory days because they're so young. And then when you think about it like that, they only know Hogan from having sex with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, you know, the secret tapes, the N-words with my daughter and all this. And I you know, the biggest one to me, listen, don't lie and say you got Hulk Hogan has a 12-inch penis and Terry Bollea has the 8-inch penis now, and we got to all figure this out legally and litigate this. But you know, just stick to the 8-inch. It's good enough. You're above average from what I've seen out here, because you know I'm always watching for that. So especially I noticed Adam Cole. You know, remember a couple of years ago, Adam Cole came out in them little undies. He's not even sporting a Terry Bollea, so that's all I got to say about that. But
the thing about Hulk Hogan is nobody's ever said he's an honest man. Like, no one ever says oh, this is the most honest man in the world, brother. It was never about say your prayers, train, and be the most honest person in the room, dude. You know, he would preach that stuff. You would want to assume that a good guy on TV like that is honest, but he was always the wrestler that's raking the back, raking the eyes, you know, doing thumb in the eyes, all this crazy heel wrestling tactics while he's even working as the biggest babyface on the planet. So I don't want to hear it about he should be this honest, upstanding citizen, because he's not one, and no one ever said he was or supposed to be. But let's be real, man. He's Hulk Hogan. We know why he's there. And to discount the fact that I saw so many takes like this, bro. And this will be, you know, I'll talk about this as much as you want to talk about it tonight, because I can go in multiple directions with this. But the craziest take I saw is that people aren't mad about his political beliefs. Bro, he was, when he came out and said, you know, enough is enough, brother, Hulkamania, Trumpamania running wild, and just endorsed Donald Trump fully, that was a huge part of the campaign. That was absolutely epic. And the fans then, I remember it because I was marching for Hulk Hogan at that point. The fans were so mad at Hulk Hogan, dude. The wrestling fans, they were pissed. They were very pissed because he was speaking up against Kamala Harris and all that stuff, and really kind of throwing her under the bus completely and making fun of her and stuff. So they were mad about that. And to say this wasn't politically motivated at all is BS, dude. These were woke people in the crowd. You knew they were going to boo Hulk Hogan. I'm not surprised they booed him at all. But of course, my hot takes are going to be like, he doesn't deserve to be booed, because let's get over it. Let's move on. It's a night of celebrations. They need to capitalize on this, dude. Somehow, some way, they will.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I think the WWE knew this was going to happen. They're in LA. They're
okay.
Does it to me every time. It's just like music.
No problem.
Picks me up once a show, but yeah, WWE should have known this was going to happen. I just can't believe that they would just go throw him out there in Los Angeles, and not think that Hulk Hogan was going to get booed. He was going to get booed. There was political elements to this, of course, but it's mainly, to me, it's mainly the N-bomb getting caught on the sex tape. Then you got the what else was there? The Sun stuff before that didn't help.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course
not. That, but that's like, we're old timers, so he, like you said, he's kind of been lying and being. Remember when he played bass for Metallica?
Yeah. He said he was. They called him up. They're like, we want you to be the bass player for Metallica, but I was wrestling Big Boss Man at the Garden, brother, and I couldn't do it. Like, give me a break, dude.
Stop the wrestling union with Jesse Ventura and all these things. Like these are now like known things. But when he did come back, remember when he supposedly met with the people backstage and gave this speech, and everybody hated the speech, and they were like, this speech stinks. Like, he really doesn't care. I think it's because with a Hulk Hogan, a Ric Flair, people like that in the business, they think they're above everybody else. And they're kind of like, listen, do you really want me to apologize for all this? And he may even be justified in feeling that way a little bit, going like, I was just caught on a stupid sex tape saying it, and maybe I think about him, but not everybody else, all these things going on probably in his head. But then again, it's like, you just got to bite the bullet, especially if you're going to be connected to the WWE and you get caught in something like that. You might as well just go, hey guys, go backstage, really kiss the New Day's ass, and Bobby, whoever you need to kiss ass back there, Booker T, put him over and all this stuff online. But maybe he really doesn't like the brothers, dude. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, there might be something to it. It just makes you think it's just that moment, Yeah. I gotta always play devil's advocate to everybody, and everybody hates it. But I can't agree with everybody that comes on, people, or else I don't have a show.
Yeah, of course, dude. Of course. Well, let me put it like this, right? Like, I'm one to watch the shoot interviews and get an understanding of what the other wrestlers say about Hulk Hogan and the situation. And I didn't hear any of the other wrestlers really say he's got a known history of racism. He ever acted racist towards them. They've ever seen him act racist towards any fan or bring anything up in racial terms at all, ever. So, I mean, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that attributes anything. I do chalk this up to, I did read Hulk Hogan's book, and he wrote this book, of course, right around the time this was all going on, right? He was going through some really dark times, major divorce with his wife at the time, Linda, terrible times. What you mentioned, kind of stuff with his son was going on. So I'm not trying to excuse Hulk Hogan of saying these horrible things about this people, even questioning if he's racist or not, or whatever the case in that tape that we've all heard 1,000 times. But he was depressed. I mean, I'm not one to judge a man by their darkest moments, especially a decade or so later, right? If there was like a known history of this, we would have heard about it. These stories would keep coming out over and over and over again about his blatant racism and being mean and hateful towards, black people or any people of any different color than, white people from Florida, brother, So that's what really says to me, hey, can we cut the dude some slack sometimes in some circumstances? I get if LA is going to boom, I understand. But I think they really need to capitalize on this. January 25th, San Antonio, Texas. March him out there. Once again, have him do the same promo, pretty much, but now putting over Saturday Night's Main Event and the history of that, and promote the Beer Brother and all this stuff, and see how they react. You're going to see a different reaction, I bet, if that happens. Doubtful. They're probably going to take their foot off the gas, I would think, right? You probably agree that they're going to take their foot off the gas, but don't play it safe, right? Lean into it. Yeah. And I would think the old school wrestler and Hulk Hogan would want to lean into it. So we'll see how they do it.
The rumor is that Hulk Hogan is not going to be doing any live stuff anytime soon, that it'll be all tape stuff and everything. I don't know how true that would be. Of course, I would buy in. I'm going headfirst into this old school wrestling style. Hopefully they do. I've seen the rumors too. People want, Hogan to join the New Day just because it would be crazy. The extra booing. If they're booing anyway, put Hogan out there with these two guys that you're already giving the Dominic Mysterio treatment to. It would be amazing.
I would love it. I would love
and
that.
It wouldn't make any sense. Like, people would try to make sense of it, like, wait a second, but he doesn't like black people. It's like, it would be amazing.
It would be. It would be awesome. You could even have them portray like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and even do an NWO thing, just be funny about it. But did you hear today, by the way, like Mark Henry was on TMZ talking about how he offered Hulk Hogan an opportunity to go to around the black colleges, like to do a tour, like a speaking tour, and apologize and talk about the issues and stuff. And he was like, and I'm laughing and kind of giggling about it because he was half-heartedly being like, Hulk should have done that. And if he would have done that, people might have forgiven this. And first of all, no way. They wouldn't have forgiven him if he would have done this tour.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. It wouldn't have mattered. No way. Because what would have happened? Like, what would have the best case scenario have been if he would have done that tour? Like, what's he going to get out of it? The guy's a 70-year-old, biggest pro wrestler, biggest superstar of all time. What's he going to get out of talking to black colleges? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep. And you know me, I'm not a Trump fan. I think I'm above all of this. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. I feel like I'm old enough. I've seen enough. I know that everybody's fucking me. Like, I get it. Everybody's fucking me. But, Trump is the only one that gave money to the black colleges, like when he first got into office. And like a lot of people don't know this. So if Hulk Hogan is doing all this and going around and, doing the I'm Sorry tour at the black colleges, that wouldn't mean shit. People don't even know about the Trump in the black colleges because all the other presidents didn't give a shit. They're like, yeah, whatever, we'll get to you the next time. And Trump told them, I think the quote or something was to this effect, where he was just like, you won't need to worry about this anymore. Like, we got you with this. So it's
this just popped in my head. If you really wanted to go in a weird direction with Hulk Hogan, you would align him with Gunther.
No, yeah. Oh my goodness.
There you go. Really lean into it.
We know what they're trying to do with Gunther and Ludwig, right? In the subconscious mind, at least of mine.
Of course, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're always they've been tickling our subconscious since at least the 80s. They do these. I know for a fact, right? And I can't tell you the exact year they did this, but they've worked with all the psychologists and psychiatrists and the top leading brain experts on the planet, and they know how to use different shapes and lighting techniques and camera cuts. All the camera cuts they do to almost hypnotize the audience in a sense. Like, I'm speaking very basic vernacular here to describe the kind of MK Ultra-ish brain fuck they give to the fans. I know being in the audience, bro, a number of years ago during the dark era when McMahon was really losing his marbles, like WrestleMania 35 type era, I went to a few of those shows and they would play theme music all throughout the break. Like Braun Strowman's music would just play for 3 minutes straight. And it's it's mind numbing, bro. It's really something where they do that intentionally to just mess with you, in my opinion. Maybe I'm going too deep into the weeds here, but I think that's something that they're great at and they've always done and will forever do.
Yep. Yeah, it's all occultic stuff too. The logos, the designs, the names. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. I was like, you realized one night Vince McMahon came out and was speaking about Dolph Ziggler, but he kept calling him Dolph Ziggler. So how I do things, I just go, what's a Ziggler? What is that last name? Because he knows who he is. He knows his character he put on TV, right? So he's doing this on purpose because he said Ziegler 3 times. So I looked up the name Ziegler and it means bricklayer or something like that. Bricklaying, masonry.
Interesting. Well,
and it doesn't, that's just the beginning of, going down this rabbit hole. I used to do CSWNN shows about this. I did a 2-parter on the occultic stuff that the WWE does. and the messages that they're giving people. I don't know if they're hip to like everything. I don't understand how it works, if it's all compartmentalized, all this stuff usually is. But when Vince was on board, at least, Apollo Crews, the name Apollo, just look that up. Look up all, like, a lot of the stuff. Sheamus coming out with his garb, Triple H and that symbol. You can literally just go on and on. It's almost everybody. And then there are certain promos that they do that are very suspect when they're talking about things. One of the times Jesse Ventura came out with the double-headed eagle, leather jacket. There's a whole lot of, there's just so much there. And it all revolves around Vince, in my opinion.
Yeah, and even Bray Wyatt, you look back at some of those promos, they were almost too intentional, right? Like with their subliminal messages they were giving out. And Vince, I've heard, and I've tried to get this confirmed, through certain people I know in the business, and I've never had somebody 100% tell me that it's actually true, but I've heard he's like the highest level of Freemason you can get, like 33rd degree or something.
I believe
that's what I've heard.
I believe it.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's true. I've asked literal WWE superstars and people who work there behind the scenes, and they could not confirm or deny, but they said they don't know at all. They have no clue, but I've always heard that. And I've been ignored largely when I ask that question. And that's always,
and it's not like all Freemasonry is evil and stuff like this, but they, it's like infiltrations. Like they probably infiltrated a long time ago, long ago in a planet far, far away. And they got in there before anybody. And now we got to, we drive around your town. You ever see them symbols? You probably don't think you do, but there's like one on almost every corner of the fucking street, even in middle America. And it's like, oh, by the way, we're here. Go look at how Washington's laid out.
There's literally one, in my town right down the street, and it's funny because you just see that G and you're like, I don't know what goes on in that building. I think I kind of have an idea, but I don't necessarily want to knock on the door. That's one place I don't want to go, even though like I do know somebody who knows somebody who's in, like one of my buddies' relative is in, and they just do like local fundraisers and just like hang out and like drink beer and watch football. So there's all different, I guess, levels to the thing.
Right. Like it's just like think of it like a religion. You go to church, you think the people sitting in the pews and everything, they're all in on it, right? Everybody's in on it. No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
It's the people in the higher up in the organizations, probably not even of that one place. It could go somewhere else, a chapter, if you will, and then that person, then who runs that person, so on and so forth. But people don't think like this for some reason. They just go, you're crazy, Dr. Huge. Everybody can't be in on it. You know how many times I've heard that in my life? Yeah. It's like, it just makes me go, like, you really think everybody can be in on it like that? It doesn't, whatever. Anyway. So yeah, Vince is in the Illuminati, if you didn't know. It's a fact, not opinion around here. So what's up, Vince? Yep. Dapping me up.
Yeah, I still, since we're talking about Vince, I'll talk about him for a second. I still like, the jury is still out for me on Vince McMahon overall, as like an overall human being and all this stuff. I'm not.
You don't think he's real?
No. I mean, I just don't know if he's really, really that bad of a dude. I do think he's pretty much a demented piece of shit. But I don't know if there's a lot of validity to some of the major accusations against him. I don't know. We'll see. It remains to be seen. I was kind of hoping to see him as like the CEO of the board of TKO for a while or whatever, the on the executive, whatever freaking he had, the chairman, the founder, whatever role it was, just to see what his involvement in the UFC would be. If he would have any kind of, add some like pyro or something, pop in circumstance to the UFC, some kind of production value, give guys gimmicks or something like that. Yeah. I always kind of had he wasn't around long enough to do anything. So I always had a curiosity of what he would have done. And I keep hearing he might be doing something upcoming as well. He might have some projects in the works. So, I know his team's available. So, most of the guys.
It's going to be? It's going to be something to do with that, maybe.
100%.
But I'm in the same boat as you as far as that goes, I think, too. Because do I think he sounds, from all the stories I've heard, people working with him and everything, he's a weird dude, right? Very 100%. Weird. One day can be very nice. The next day can be a total prick. Maybe that's the life of a billionaire and being in the Illuminati. And then all this stuff comes out, right? And they show the same photo of this woman all the time. But then I've heard she was 22 or like in her early 20s, and then I heard she was in her 40s, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's hard to find some of this information. I'm actually looking some of this up. Like, how old is she? Like, what is
Yeah,
going on?
early 40s, dude. And she was married the entire time this was happening. She was married, and she was married to a lawyer of some Spanish TV network, like one of the big Spanish TV networks. He's a lawyer for it. The name of the network.
Hold on. This is news to me. So she isn't a 20-year-old that just needs the money so bad from Daddy Vince?
No. She's a 40-year-old married to her husband, lived in the same exact complex, as a condo complex. There's a bunch of condos in this area, and they live in it. And she would like go literally from that place with her husband down to go visit Vince and do
We'll
what she
just
did
say
with Vince.
allegedly to everything,
Allegedly.
just in case.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, in our
I mean,
opinions.
These are in all the this is in all the public documents. I mean, this is everything. If you read through all of the documents, her lawsuit doesn't say any of this, but his responses to her lawsuit say this. So that's what he alleges. Vince McMahon alleges this is the case, and yeah, I have no reason to not believe that. And no, she's in her 40s, bro. She was in a movie. She was like a failed Hollywood actress, dude. And her attorney, I did some deep dive on her attorney. I don't trust her at all. She's a Democrat operative. Her father was a Democrat judge from, I think, I might be wrong, Illinois, I believe. And he was very high ranking. He was a big donor to the Democrat Party. Every year they could expect millions out of him. And he tried to make his daughter a judge. And she actually was, but she was the worst ranked judge. She was like the worst ranked one or whatever. And she ended up failing as a judge. Then she had a failed Senate bid. She got endorsed by Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi.
She did a lot of stuff.
Oh, bro, this is the lawyer. I'm talking about the lawyer. I'm talking about the lawyer. Her lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the woman's lawyer. So the woman's lawyer, to me, is just the swamp personified. Like, nobody likes a lawyer anyway, but nobody likes a feminist, Democrat operative lawyer. Ugh, it just grosses me out. And bro, to be honest, if you search her name's Ann Callis on Twitter. I'm the only one calling her out. Like, there's nobody else calling her out really, except for me. I respond to Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics all the time. He's always interviewing her and putting out good press about her. She's the absolute worst. She's a demon. She sucks. And I think she's behind a lot of this vitriol against Vince McMahon. I think a lot of it's to do with Trump and the whole thing. And I think there's a bad actor in the WWE as well who unleashed this. I think, at the end of the day, Janelle Grant was madly in love with Vince McMahon, I think, and he broke it off with her, and she went crazy and is trying to like get what she thinks she's owed, and that's millions upon millions of dollars.
Broke off the agreement. Probably not. I don't really believe that she's madly in love with an 80-year-old. I think she likes the fact that he's an 80-year-old that is a damn near a billionaire. I mean, that's probably more like it. We'll call it that instead. Maybe. That's more reality based.
Did you read the letter that she sent Vince though? I mean, anybody can write.
I actually did read those. It was a while back, so I don't remember what was in it. But yeah, I thought that was a little fishy too. That it wasn't one of the letters during some of this, like
yeah. Well, stuff. The lawyer says that like Vince coerced her to write that letter. He liked to get letters written to him, so she would write letters to him often.
So you'd hold her by the back of the neck and like push her face into a notepad and be like, "Come on, you're doing this, pal. Put the turban on, Dr.
Write the letter. Write the letter now, you bitch."
Oh, Vince. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I believe that he's weird and probably into all this stuff and passing her his chicks around and doing the whole thing. He's living in a different world than most people, and a lot of the people that are in his world with him are brought in by Vince, and they're just going to go, "Yes, Vince, yes." But you know what that reminds me of? This chick from FS1?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Remember her? Mm-hmm. Remember the story on her, everybody, that came out this week? Or last week, rather? I mean, that's some crazy stuff. I mean, so there's proof this type of thing actually happens. People get thrown under the bus that are sleeping around at work and all that, Yep.
Well, if she, had sex with John Laurinaitis allegedly, or peed for Brock Lesnar allegedly, or whatever the hell happened, and Vince coerced her to do it, Of course, if he coerces her under false pretenses, and then that's obviously illegal. You can't be doing that stuff. But she's got to prove that she didn't do this stuff willingly, that she wasn't, because she's an adult, right? It's not like she can't make decisions for her own, and it's not like she was breaking any laws herself. He didn't coerce her to break the law. He, allegedly coerced her to do some sick sexual perverted stuff, and you can't be doing that in a position of power at an organization where you have her employed. So I understand the lawsuit if he did this, if this is actually what happened. But John Laurinaitis just recently amended his lawsuit as well, his response to the lawsuit. So we'll see how it plays out. We're not hearing a lot about it. I don't think anything's going to really come out of it, to be honest, dude. I really don't. I think Vince is going to get off the hook.
Yeah, he'll be off the hook. It will be kind of real. It will all be very quiet. She'll be very, very rich going forward. And that's that. Not like she wasn't before. That's what I'm saying. All this is just like obscene, And again, that's why I don't really believe in politics, because again, like what you got Vince McMahon, who's ultra conservative, or at least is a part of that world, right? And then he's going to get with this Democrat chick with these ties, and he's not going to know anything about that. Put him on his team and not think anything's going to happen, especially the way things have been going the past 10 years at this point. Like everybody's nuts. I've always spoken out about cults, and people don't understand that they're in cults a lot of the time. They think that cults are only little small religious sects. No, they're the big ones too, and they're all different types of cults. Political and gender. Now you got a cult for friggin' everything, and then they put everybody in these little bubbles, and if they stray, their people get mad at them. It's a tug of war. It's like they hold people and your family members over your head. It's just like an actual religious cult if you would think about it, but it's now for the masses, and that's why nobody really gets on my team, because I don't have a team. there's no team to join. I'm the team of common sense. How about that?
I get it.
Makes sense.
I get it. I can get into the MAGA thing a little bit, just because I really liked President Trump towards the end, especially towards like the end of his term, and I really like him now. But I know that you can get too deep into that kind of stuff, right? I get it. You can go too deep, and I'm not really like following it too much now. I'm happy he won the election, and I'm trying to back off it. But speaking on like the WWE part with the politics and stuff, a lot of people that work there are really like liberal and woke and stuff. So
Kevin Owens was trying to get people to put masks on.
Oh yeah,
Kevin Owens,
dude. Absolutely, man. There's a lot of them there, and it was only a matter of time before somebody canceled Vince. And this is the worst thing they could have done, is to start the original investigation into his misconduct in the office and get him thrown off the board, forcing him to retire the first time, which he never should have done in the first place, because that just muddied the waters initially. Everybody was suspicious. Now he's suddenly retired, then he came back, and now he's out again, and he's still got 20. I don't know, what did they say? Millions of shares still, I believe. TKO, he's still holding millions of shares, which is at like an all-time high almost of $140 a share, and he still has a couple billion dollars. So man, it's just, to me, that story is just waiting to explode. I think we're going to see something pretty soon out of it.
Yeah. What do you think about this John Cena farewell to my hair tour that he's going on this year?
I love it.
He's going to win the Royal Rumble, right? What do you think?
I think very possible. I don't think it helps anybody on the roster, but when you think about it that way, who else is ready to win it at this point? Roman Reigns potentially, I guess, could be a candidate to win it. I don't know what direction they want to go with him at WrestleMania, so it could be a bit of a convoluted title picture. It's really kind of up in the air at this point. But since they're going heavy with him being in it, and him saying that might be his only way to get to WrestleMania for that title shot, I believe he's a front runner right now. And I know what they want to do. They want to sell out arenas all over the country with John Cena, and they're going to do it. They're going to have another like blockbuster year of WWE business for sure on his back. And that's what he wants to do, essentially, even though he couldn't really commit to how many matches he's going to wrestle. He's going to be at basically every show from here on out. So it's going to be an impressive run for Cena. I wish him well, because it's tough to go in there and bump, and I hope he takes it easy and doesn't fill up his bump card too quickly, because he doesn't have that many left, I don't think. But it should be interesting, and you gotta believe he's got big feuds lined up, right? Kevin Owens probably is lined up, Randy Orton, all these guys. So it should be a very, very awesome, interesting run. I'm pumped to see it.
Hopefully not Logan Paul, because
It's the shits.
Logan Paul's the shits. I don't care if he's great in the ring and all this stuff. You know what? This is why I can't tell people you gotta like Hulk Hogan or deal with it or whatever. I can't, because I don't like Logan Paul, and he's just fine, and people are okay with what he does off screen, but I'm not. I think he's a typical scumbag. I see this as a WWE making the most of their business opportunities. I can't fault them for that either, but it doesn't make me happy, seeing Logan Paul all the time. He's just like, he's the male Hawk 2, I've been calling him this year.
Dude, yeah, he's hurt way more people than Hulk Hogan ever did, in my opinion. I mean, I know Hulk Hogan, what he said with his words hurt people, but Logan Paul has hurt people's finances bad.
Literally hurt people. Yes, took food out of their kids' mouths and things like that.
Dude, people lost their life savings on Crypto Zoo, and I don't, a lot of people don't know too much about crypto, so I don't talk about it much, even when I'm on any podcast. But I'm open to talk about it all. I followed that story very closely, and he really ruined a lot of lives, and he was never really held accountable for it. Not only that, the Japanese farce thing was really in bad taste. It was, to me, that was a real horrible thing to do, and I understand why people were mad about that. Dumb kid learned a dumb lesson. And he's a very, very egomaniacal guy, and I think eventually it'll all probably come back around to bite him in the ass, I think. But again, great in the ring, fantastic in the ring, unbelievable in the ring. Great on the mic, just incredible on the mic, all that stuff. But yeah, definitely scumbag, no question about that. I agree.
He's gonna come back supposedly with his brother as his manager, maybe this time.
Okay.
There's a rumor of that going around. I'll tell you, when I was watching that Jake Paul fight with Mike Tyson, which was a total work, and I knew that too. I'm so mad at myself that I didn't bet on the fight going all the way and all that stuff. Like everything everybody already kind of knew. And then they were selling the knockouts so hard right before the fight. I'm like, this shit's going the distance. But after the fight, Mike Tyson's like, maybe I'll fight your brother. And Logan Paul's like, oh, he'll fuck you up. And I'm like, this is so douchey. Like, this is, it gave me the biggest douche chills. Because I'm just like, who does this? He really thinks he's Mike Tyson level. And I'm not even talking about fighting. Just like, you think you can talk like this to Mike Tyson on TV?
Yeah, he thinks, I'm sure he thinks he could beat Mike Tyson if they were prime versus prime. No pun intended, with the drink, of course. But if it was prime versus prime, he ain't beating Mike Tyson. I'm sorry. Mike Tyson's beating you in like 20 seconds, Logan. I don't care.
He's so obnoxious.
Yeah, I agree, dude. Jake's a little bit better. He's obnoxious too, but I think he's a little bit better than Logan, at least.
Exactly. Like if you can make me, I think Jake Paul's a douche too. Like the tattoos, the hair, like everything is so douche. And then you're cooler than your brother. Like, wow. How about that time, like a year or so ago, when Jake Paul's, fighting people in these boxing matches, and Jake Paul was not happy. He was not happy for his brother that he was winning and becoming a name himself in the business or what have you. And that also just added on to me going, I can't stand this guy. He doesn't even like his own brother.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, huge douchebags. They have a lot of professional animosity against each other, even over their endorsement deals. I fell down that rabbit hole for a bit, admittedly watching their content and kind of getting an understanding of where their mindset was out. And I really wanted to know how they really built their fortunes and their empires. And I figured that out, and then I kind of faded away from watching their stuff. But they've had professional animosity for a long time, and they probably always will.
Well. Jake's going to be in the WWE too, possibly, and if so, that I can't see Logan being too happy with that. Now he's encroaching on his stuff, Yeah,
the Netflix deal, it just makes sense. Netflix has a deal with him too for boxing, so.
Oh, that's true, yeah. And then one thing more about John Cena here. The one thing I need out of John Cena this year, I wasn't thinking about this both like when I first heard the news, but Ric Flair, you got to live long enough this year, bro, because you got to see John Cena beat your record. Woo! I would love it. I would love to see you go online and cry about it and go, oh, my daughter's supposed to do it. And this is all fake. And he's going to throw a hissy fit if John Cena wins a title and beats his record this year. And that's the only reason I want John Cena to win the title. Other than that, make any story of what you will. WWE, I'm sure it will be good now that you're making sense these days. But Ric Flair, get out of our lives. You don't have to like RIP and all that, and it'll be very sad when that happens. But
you're not God or my father or my boss.
Exactly what the bagel boss said. So
I think they just announced today. I saw that Ric Flair's going to be on Raw soon or on SmackDown soon. They're going to do a Royal Rumble tribute of some sort where they're going to bring back the past winners. And you would assume if they're bringing back everybody, they're definitely not bringing back everybody, but some of the past winners. They said Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Ric Flair would be on the show. But yeah, I agree with you. I hope Cena breaks the record. But Flair's already going on about it. He's already saying, oh, the real number's 21, the real number's 27, the real number's 23, because of all these other world titles he's had that nobody cares about, you know? Because I'm sure he's had, if you think about the way wrestling really is, brother, if you really want to go back and deep dive at all these title changes and stuff and really be exact on it, I'm sure he's got just an unlimited amount, because at house shows you trade the title back and forth and all this stuff. In Japan, you'll drop it to one guy and then you'll win it back from him and they don't recognize it. So, you know, whatever, who cares? But it's recognized as 16, you know, so 16 is what it is. And let's get 17 on John Cena somehow. What do you think it's going to be, though? If he does it, it's going to be the big belt, Cody's belt, or is it going to be the world heavyweight belt?
I would let it be the big belt, because I don't see Roman Reigns going for that anytime soon. He doesn't need it. He had it for 4 years, people. Like, that's a long time to hold that belt. And then now that he's given it up, he's the tribal chief. I think that's enough. You're the tribal chief. You can have your storylines, almost literal storylines, compared to the rest of the matches and the rest of the card. Like the way the bloodline and Roman Reigns himself is set up, it's like a whole nother offshoot of WWE at this point. And they may start bringing in other mid-card storylines and this and that, which I hope they do, and try to make them more long-term, like the storyline, because people are getting sick of the bloodline storyline. But you know what? This is how seasonal TV goes. You don't just bang out stories like Vince McMahon used to do, and then you forget about anything that's happened the past couple of months. This is so much better, so much more concise and clear, and they're giving you, everybody's getting the message. People can get hurt. It doesn't matter. They fill in the spots. So Roman Reigns, you go do all that. But as far as John Cena taking the belts, I don't need him taking the working man's belt, the Gunther belt, who lost to Cody Rhodes. So they've already told everybody Cody Rhodes' belt is the top belt. If you didn't know, kids, right? He beat Gunther, who is damn near unbeatable, but you know, losing to Sammy and losing to Cody in 1 year, even though they're big guys themselves, it was not great for Dr. Huge's business, you know, because I love Gunther, and I think that whole thing is realer wrestling than the Cody Reigns. Yeah, you might as well. Cody Reigns stuff.
Yeah.
And, John Cena, go take that Cody belt.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I think you're probably right, absolutely. But like, Roman Reigns, you know, it wouldn't shock me if he's off TV again for a little bit, but with Netflix, now he's on Raw. So I think he's a Raw wrestler now. So there's some fresh matchups there. Maybe he goes after Gunther. Maybe somehow they like cross paths at some point. But also you got to think Drew McIntyre's got to be next, right? Maybe that's the angle. And CM Punk is also is owed a favor from Roman Reigns as well. So we have to kind of remember that's coming. So it's interesting to see what they do with the world titles and with John Cena specifically. I think there's a lot of, and him too, like, he's got to go after that WWE championship, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does come face to face with Gunther at some point, right? Maybe even after Gunther drops the belt, you got to kind of make that match, and maybe even give Cena the win. Maybe that's a big win for Cena on this tour, is it's him beating Gunther. As you said, Gunther's already lost to Cody, already lost to Sammy. So if he loses to Cena at this point, what's the difference, right? So that would be a good marquee win for Cena on this tour, and I think he's going to get a lot of them. I think we'll see him win a lot of matches.
Yeah, definitely be better than Gunther losing to Goldberg this year.
Oh, dude, that match is probably going to happen though, bro. But Gunther, I guess, would win. I guess, right? I don't know.
How crazy would it be if Gunther squashed? Either way, if Goldberg squashed Gunther or Gunther squashed Goldberg, that would just be something. Of course, it won't happen. I don't think you were going to get a nice little 4-minute, 5-minute max match, and Gunther's going to try to carry his corpse through it, I guess.
Yeah, you just got to choke him. You catch him in that choke, that rear naked choke Gunther does, and that's all you really have to do to beat Goldberg, which would be cool. But I mean, Goldberg, I thought would just go away after that cool match he had with Bobby Lashley. They had like a decent match at one of the Saudi Arabia shows, I think it was, or something. But Yeah, they had like a decent one, I thought it was. But yeah, he's got to go. And having one more, Vince, I guess, had promised Goldberg one more match as the story, and now Triple H wants to capitalize on that. So if this is it, this is it. Good riddance. See you later, dude. Like,
Yeah.
nice knowing you. You know.
And I need your thoughts on Cope, of course. This name, this wrestler, as the formerly known as Edge, on AEW. I watched a little bit of Dynamite last night. I can't keep up with this stuff. What's your take on AEW in general, and especially Cope, the older wrestlers that are there?
Yeah, I've watched AEW since the inception. I've watched it all. I've been to a couple shows, and it's definitely a shell of what it once was. But I think a part of that is just natural progression of the company. I think it was inevitably going to happen since they've made so many blunders, and that sometimes happens in growing businesses. It's definitely not profitable. I don't care what they say; it can't be profitable. Maybe somehow it is with this new TV deal, but it just doesn't make sense to me on paper how it would be. So overall, AEW seems to be mismanaged in a lot of ways. I do really appreciate the effort the wrestlers put on. I don't think a lot of this is their fault. I do really think they put on a great effort. As far as Adam Copeland's concerned, we're seeing a midlife crisis at work here, similar to what we saw with Chris Jericho recently. Some of the crazy stuff Chris Jericho was doing with like Nick Gage and all these like stupid matches with Tomohiro Ishii where they chop each other 75 times each. And just, Adam Copeland's going through that. Cope, he changed his name to Cope, which is so bad. Like, I made the joke that I think he should do bad jokes using the word cope. Like, you're going to have to cope with me at Wrestle Revolution, brother, stuff like that. Look, he's going through some kind of midlife end of the career crisis here. Getting all of those creative juices out, the hardcore matches, jumping off the cage, all the crazy stuff he's done. Good for him, right? Get the bag, have fun creatively. This is what I said when he went there. Go have fun, dude. I'm not necessarily a fan of what they're doing right now, bro. To be honest, I watched the shows. I try to like it. I do like some of the wrestlers there. I really liked when CM Punk was there. I'd watch for him. Really liked when Bryan Danielson was there. Would watch for him. I watched with Mercedes Moné, as you probably might remember. I've always been a big fan and advocate for her. I think she's tremendous. She's doing a lot better work in the past few months than she did in the whole rest of the year in 2024. So props to her for that. But the show has really taken a dive, and Adam Copeland's one of the people that we have to blame for it because he was on the show for so long, building to something. Then he jumps off the cage, like so many of these guys on the show have done, to get injured in a very haphazard, stupid way that's detrimental to the company. And I could really talk about AEW for freaking hours, bro, because the problems with the company are so complex, and we don't know specifically what they are because of all the NDAs. So it's hard from an outsider's perspective to really put your finger on exactly what's wrong, but it all starts with Tony Khan. It all ends with Tony Khan. So I think that's the problem right there.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of it, of course, outside looking in, looks like it's just addition by subtraction. Like they can just go to smaller venues. I mean, be it NXT style small. I'm not talking even like, because they go, whoa, we're scaling down, but you're scaling down to like large arenas still. So and you're not filling those. So get into, become NWA if you need to in some areas. So it's like a local band going out to tour so everybody can know about you. The people don't know about you like that, at least live. And then on TV, you're competing with WWE. There's 1,000 hours of wrestling out here already. So that's going to be a task in itself. So having less wrestlers, less this, less that, smaller venues, scale it down, and then the hardcore fans will then build it up. And the casuals will start to take notice because the shows will be packed. The talent will be super over because there's compared to what they have now, I would literally kick out half them dudes. Yeah. They don't need to be there. There's too many. I don't know what's going on week to week. Ed, you got older wrestlers coming out with younger wrestlers I've never heard of. Edge has a bird's nest hairdo these days. It's driving me crazy. Jericho's same thing with that new stitched in hair and things. I get it. You look like Vince Neil. I love Jericho's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Same,
my favorite wrestler over Shawn Michaels after he blocked me here.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love
So
Chris Jericho too. He's another reason why I watch the show often is, his work isn't as great anymore, but he just recently did these very entertaining bits in New York City as the ROH champion, the King of New York stuff I
yep.
thought was really good. But, I do watch it and I like parts of the show, but overall it just feels like, and I've said this for many, many years now, it feels like a fever dream sometimes. Like after you're done, you're just overloaded with
Mhm.
sensory, like your senses are just maxed out. You're like, what did I just watch? And at a certain point when you watch these pay-per-views specifically, like, I watched the last one, World's End, and there's nothing you could do to follow Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher to start the show. They did everything you could possibly do in a wrestling match in the first match of the show. And then a few matches later, you're having all these great match after match after match, and you're having like Mariah May have a street fight match with Thunder Rosa, and they're doing craziness, and it's just like you're doing way too much on every single show. You're shooting fireballs at people and all kinds of chaos. You've done too much. You've overloaded your fans. You've gone too far. It's just enough is enough at a certain point. What they're doing with John Moxley, the Death Rider stuff, is not helping the show on a week-to-week basis.
Now, what's the main problem with that, you think? Because I've been keeping up with, at least the main event stuff going on there, and I've noticed Moxley's involved all the time. He had the Rock and Roll Express duct tape this past week. That was to what? Piss off Edge and the good guy?
An FTR, yeah. Rated FTR, they're called now. And there was a trios match between them against the Learning Tree, which is Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith, the Bad Apple. And they were having the match, and then this came on the big screen, of course. They're tied up. Like, what was John Moxley going to do to them? Was he going to torture them? Did he have a soldering iron there? Like, what's he going to do? Like, and then they came in there and ran them off, and then they, like, freed the Rock and Roll Express. But, like, so here's the main problem with it, okay? The main problem with the storyline is you don't know why it's a storyline. There's not a full understanding of why any of this is actually happening. And it makes me laugh because it's true. It's true. There's no real specific reason. There's no crescendo. There's no end. There's no end in sight to it. It's just John Moxley has said a lot of these kind of subliminal, hyperbolic statements week after week after week that just don't make a lot of sense. Do you remember when Bray Wyatt was kind of just treading water at a certain time of his career, and he'd have these promos every week on Raw, and they just would make no sense, and it would go absolutely nowhere? That's kind of what's happening here. It's almost evident that he's got creative control over the storyline, John Moxley I'm talking about, and it's just going absolutely nowhere, dude. So now he's in a feud with Cope, and we'll see where that goes.
Damn it, Dean Ambrose. They gave you the steering wheel, and you're driving us off a cliff over here with AEW, it looks like, because I've been keeping up lately the past month. Like I said, I kind of don't know what's going on. And I should know what's going on, I watched it.
They had this whole Continental Classic tournament, which I tried to keep up with and because I watched the first year they had it. And it's got this really crazy point system with all these different scenarios at the end, and everyone's got a specific route to get in. And it's kind of like the NHL, not the NHL, like, or any actual sports playoffs, right? Where all the teams have a possibility to get in if specific situation happens.
Right.
So that's what was going on at the end of it. But there were so many different ones that it would confuse anyone, not even wrestling fans. It was crazy.
I've heard Cornette talk about the what could happen, like you said, like the NFL playoffs. This can happen if this one wins, but if this one can get this many points, then this will happen. And
Tony Schiavone was saying it on the show. Tony Schiavone and Excalibur on a week-to-week basis were explaining this to you. And meanwhile, they're also rattling off all the matches that are going to be on next week's episode, and the next episode of Collision, and the next episode of Rampage, and all the different wrestlers that are going to be involved. Let me tell you real quick. A couple weeks ago on Dynamite, I'm watching it from the beginning, and they had a really unique open, but you saw probably 10 wrestlers in the first 2 minutes of the show, dude. You saw 10 different wrestlers cut, and they're all saying something. They're all throwing something at you. And as a fan, you're like, and me as a seasoned wrestling fan, I get it. But if you're not as seasoned to it, you're like, what is going on here? I don't understand what the hell's going on. I'm never turning this on again.
Yeah, it's something I would see as hard as to grow your fan base with jumping around as much as they do. Because some of their champions, it's like, you got to really put these people over. The WWE, just follow that. They're the best in the business. They've been doing it forever. They got it down to a science. Look at what they do and do that. And in my opinion, WWE has too many wrestlers. like if you think about it, you got Bronson Reed's out, Ilya Dragunov's out, AJ Styles out, Charlotte's been out. You can go on and on with all their injuries and people that have been off screen for a while, and they still have too many wrestlers. There's like not enough time. We need more 3-hour shows and this that. Cut your roster in half. Like what's the point of holding on to all these people? And I don't want like all these people to get fired or whatever, but it's kind of just like maybe build another promotion somewhere else with everybody from AEW and WWE that is just not on TV.
Yeah, I think you're onto something when you say that, bro. Honestly, I think when you just said that, I think you're onto something, dude. I think that's probably what the future is going to hold, is actually a fourth promotion for the company. And they did have it, right? With NXT UK, they had that for a while. And I think you're going to see something again. You're going to see some kind of international promotion pop up. Not sure how they're going to do it, if it's going to be in Japan or if it's going to be some just random international thing in Europe somewhere. But I think that's in the cards, bro. So I think you're onto something when you say
they're all going to Japan now. Anna Jay is going to Japan. Omos is, like I said, everybody that's on green and they love and they want to keep in the business because, Anna Jay is just amazing to look at. So please keep her around AEW. But, and then everybody's going to Japan lately is my point. The guy from NXT, I don't even know his name. He's in that No Quarter Catch crew. The dude with
Charlie Dempsey.
No, the one with the afro.
Oh,
the new guy that replaced the wrestling guy that was there recently. Like I said, there's too many guys, but they're sending them all to Japan, and they're making a big deal out of it on NXT. Like, he just came back from Japan, and it's doing something for these guys. I guess giving them that just that in-ring experience in front of cameras, maybe.
Motivation too, and the experience to like, oh well, this is what it's like. You go out to Japan, you get treated like a king. You go out to Rivera Steakhouse, you get treated like a king. Whatever. Like this is it. That's what Omos was saying when he was on screen. Like when he had the belt in Japan, he was like, "I understand now. I get it now. I understand." And that, I think he's telling the truth. Like he gets it. He understands why a guy like him is going to go over to Japan and get over for the rest of his life if he wants to.
And you got time? You want to go extra innings here?
Whatever you want to do, man. I'm chilling.
All right. Well, I got some more notes to talk about here. Like this Kenny Omega, he's back, and he gave a spiel on, his diverticulitis and his illness. And then the other night I'm watching, I think, Raw on Netflix, and they showed X-Pac in the crowd, and I think he had diverticulitis too. So when I heard that, then I'm just like, me being a doctor, I know what diverticulitis is. Of course, Brock Lesnar also had it. So I looked up steroids, diverticulitis, and you know what? There is a correlation.
Interesting.
Just saying. So, and Kenny Omega doesn't look like the type of guy that should be like muscular. If I don't know how that makes sense. He just doesn't look like he should be as muscular as he is or was. So. Yeah.
When it happened, he blamed it on a drink that he had from Panera Bread or something like that. He got some kind of mango sweet tea or something. If I'm not mistaken, I could have just butchered it, but that's what I remember from the story initially, is that this was one of the reasons why he ended up having diverticulitis, some kind of poison. And as if people don't know, it's like a hole in your intestine that kind of pops up for whatever reason and basically poisons your body slowly over time, depending on the size of the hole. And according to Omega, when he cut this promo last night, he was talking about how he was very much on the brink of death. Like he was starting to get poisoned very quickly. He was very sick, didn't realize how sick he was for a while. And if he didn't get to the emergency room ASAP, he probably would have lost his life at a certain point. So he was very lucky, according to his doctor. I don't know. I have no reason to not believe the guy, but it is a wrestling promo, so I don't know how much of hyperbole it was. But yeah, I do believe it's very serious condition. X-Pac was serious too.
Yep. I know people that have had it before in my personal life. Like Brock Lesnar got that surgery and then fought in the UFC, right?
Yeah.
He's nuts.
Yeah, crazy.
So, yep, Kenny Omega's back. Of course, I'm not the biggest Kenny Omega fan or anything, but, I don't want to see the guy die or anything. So.
No, dude, I don't, again, I'm not either, but there were times of his career where I really liked his work. I thought he was really, really great at certain times, especially early in his career when I would watch him at Ring of Honor shows live or local indie shows in high school gyms. I watched him super early in his career, and it was always awesome to watch him because he was so good in the ring. He was just doing stuff in there that nobody else was doing at the time, and was so crisp and clean with everything, even when he was the opening match and he wasn't in any kind of main event or anything like that. So yeah, he's kind of a goofball for sure. He's a weird cat, and his wrestling now is just a little bit too over the top sometimes, but dude, when he can go, dude. He had that match just this past weekend with Gabe Kidd, at New Japan. That was crazy. I don't know if you saw that, but I watched that match. What a hard hitting, great match. Like he's definitely fully back into his old form. But he is slightly different. Like he mentioned that promo that he has to change his style, and it looks like he has a little bit. Yeah.
You can't be jumping around as much when you pulled out all your guts.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a more hard hitting style now. Yeah.
How about this Big Steph story? Stephanie McMahon, that's my nickname for her anyway. And she might return. It's a possibility. Triple H is out here. I hope she returns. I would love for there to be some kind of authority business going on backstage. Doesn't even have to be like that hardcore into like, where they're just heels backstage and all this. But Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis are doing a good job. They need one of them. Have one of them on one of these shows be a bad guy and have the other one, GM, be a good guy instead of them both just being corporate guys. It gets a little lazy. The only thing that I can tell that's a difference between the two is Nick Aldis stops fights before they happen backstage, and Adam Pearce doesn't. He shows up at the very end. So, I mean, let's shake it up. And I think Stephanie McMahon would be best. Like she could almost oversee both TV shows and both managers. Just an idea, WWE.
Yeah, very good idea. I think that idea is awesome, dude. Again, I was at WrestleMania, and when she came out to open WrestleMania, I believe it was night 2, I think, if I recall. Maybe it was night 1. I can't remember. But it was awesome, man. We went crazy. We were like, oh, this is amazing. It's always great to see her, dude. I love her. She's awesome. And she's the one who said many years ago that philanthropy is the marketing of the future for WWE. And boy, was she right. They really built a business on that.
Yep, she's killing it. She's doing it. We got Rollins. Here's some Rollins news. He was supposed to be in that new Captain America movie, and now he's not.
No, I'm not surprised.
Cut him right out.
Yeah.
You don't think he's movie star material, this guy?
Bro, I have no idea. No clue, bro. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how you make that decision. Who to cut, who didn't. Maybe you needed just another couple extra seconds. Like, how much could he have been in the movie, right? One scene, Who knows?
Yeah, he was probably just like a henchman that showed up and said like a line.
I think he still gets to put that on his movie credits, though, if I'm not mistaken, right? Even though he did.
You should be able to. I would think.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yep. And then Malachi Black could be done with AEW. He wants out. Apparently, that's the word.
Yeah, I posted about this, bro. So backstage, they're saying that it feels like he's gone. He had this match with Adam Cole a couple weeks ago, and he kind of said goodbye. And also they did a promo last night where Will Ospreay was talking to Buddy Matthews and telling him, like, you're so much better than what you're doing as a tag wrestler, mate. You should be a singles guy. I got your back and all this stuff. So I think he's gone personally, but there are people that are saying it's a fake news story. Have you heard anything specifically about this?
I heard the same thing you did, and same thing with last night and Dynamite, and putting Brody too over with Buddy Murphy, being like, you guys don't need that whole gang and everything that you're doing. So yeah, I mean, it would make all the sense in the world for him to go back to Triple H. He's a Triple H guy, and Selena Vega's there. That's his wife, right? So
yeah, and there's stuff for him to do. There's dark characters there, Karrion Kross. There's the Wyatt Six. There's all this darkness there anyway. So Rhea Ripley,
Kross. I wish they would put them on TV more. I think that's really what they need if they're going to like actually get over is just they need more time. I don't think the social media and all that is enough for the fans to be like, we're into this, because it seems like a lot of people are already done with the Wyatt Six. A lot of people are coming around to the Final Testament here, but they're still kind of like, we don't like Karrion Kross. That's how I've seen it out here, at least on the,
they should get rid of they should replace Paul Ellering with Hulk Hogan, bro. See how that works.
There you go again. We'll replace him in all. He can work for both. Why not?
Yeah.
He comes out every segment with somebody, just all the bad guys.
Yeah, he brings his let me tell you something, brother promo to the Final Testament. That'd be hilarious. Oh, that'd be so funny.
Or I got Hogan around here somewhere. We got to change up some of these scenes here. I haven't been doing a good job of this tonight. But for the audio crowd, you've been getting one of the greatest shows of your life. There he is, dancing.
Brother.
The brother, dude. Dream big again. We're doing it. We're making America great again. Did you hear on my show I announced breaking news that he was going to be the border czar?
No, bro, really?
He's going to leg drop everybody that tries to come in. He's going to have sex with all their wives. Going to call them the N-word.
I love it.
Send them right back. That's the plan.
I advocate for it. Let's go.
Border czar Hogan.
I did hear he might actually try to be the like fitness administrator or something,
Yeah.
like head the fitness program. Like that's crazy. Come on, man. Don't do anything. Just sell your beer, have fun, enjoy the rest of your life, bro. That's what I wish for Hulk Hogan. I think he's, whatever. I'm a Hulkamaniac, brother, through and through. I don't condone what he said though in that sex tape, illegally filmed, hidden camera in his friend's.
You
bedroom,
don't condone cuckolding, right?
No, I don't condone that at all. No way.
Or getting filmed secretly. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Bubba did that on purpose.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. And he left it laying around in his desk. It's not like he protected it. He put it in his work desk and left it laying there for anybody to grab and throw into their CD player or whatever. Stupid.
Yeah. And his story, supposedly, he's like, I don't know what happened. I don't know who took the tape and whatever. But he had the tape in his office. And I think one of his guys is the rumor that were working there, like swooped it up. And
yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
the rest
what happened.
he thought he was going to get paid off of it, but all he got was a big old headache.
Yeah, Gawker went out of business because of it too.
Yep, Malachi Black. I mean, I could talk more about AEW stuff, but it's not really that fun to talk about. One thing is,
go ahead.
I got MJF and Jeff Jarrett. That whole situation seems like something. Another older wrestler. He seems to be on his John Cena tour this year. He's like on his way out. That's how they're booking it, at least. And it looks like MJF will probably be one of his final matches in the company, and that would be pretty cool, I think, as a sending off, having MJF as one of your final matches.
Yeah, I think this is going to be similar to, and you might remember this. Did you watch a lot of ECW in the 90s?
Yeah, good amount.
Okay, so like you remember probably one of their most famous angles was Terry Funk doing like his run to the world title when they were going on the pay-per-view for the first time. There was like a match with Raven and Barely Legal, it was called, and he won the belt and it was boom. Bingo. Yeah. So Terry Funk's like, I think it's going to be similar to that, but with an AEW twist to it. I think he might win the belt, and then I think Christian might cash in whatever he's got the contract thing and take it from him real quick. So he has that moment. I could see it in my head, a bloodied Jeff Jarrett somehow pulling off a win out of nowhere with help from whoever to get it done. Start celebrating. Christian cashes in. All of a sudden, Christian's now the champion. I think I can kind of see that happening, and it kind of goes full circle as well. As I'm not mistaken, I think Christian might have been the one to beat Jeff Jarrett for the Intercontinental Championship in the WWE, or one championship back in the 90s or something. I might be wrong about that, but I kind of remember. I don't know. It's interesting to me, dude, that they're doing something like this. I don't know if they're trying to counteract Cena or if it's just on the menu for them, something that's been in the works for a while. Interesting. Jeff Jarrett, full-blown singles run to the world title is going to be it's going to be fun how they pull that off. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out.
It's wild to me because, I like Jeff Jarrett. I never had a problem with him. But compared to like Edge and Jericho, I actually like him better than both of them at this point.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of them, man. But Jeff Jarrett just seems a little more fresh, right? Than Edge and Jericho doing their thing for so long so far in AEW and like primetime spots. Jarrett's been there, but he's been doing real low card, mid card stuff with guys of that caliber, and I'm surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't be surprised at all, actually, that they're putting him in the main event. But it just seems like it's a counteraction, and it's almost a continuation of what they've been doing with like Sting. They did the same exact thing kind of with Sting, So I don't know. We'll see. Bro.
My favorite Jeff Jarrett bit was when he was in Mexico, super drunk, throwing tortillas into the crowd.
Oh my!
Love that bit. That was.
Dude, I remember that. Yeah. He had some dark years there, man. He had some trouble a little bit there, but good for him to.
If you're gonna have dark years, you might as well have them be funny, I guess. Like that. It's still funny to me.
Hell yeah, dude.
Throwing tortillas into that, you really thought that was a good idea? Even drunk, like I would be like, I don't know if this is a good idea.
At least he didn't hit them with guitars. I always remember when he hit Beetlejuice with the guitar on Nitro.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
God, you were a big Stern guy back in the day, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Can't listen to him anymore. Now you're Team MAGA.
Well, it's not even that, man. Like Howard Stern can still be funny and do his things. Like I appreciate his comedic, but he's also become really kind of like during COVID, for example, right? Like that was when I kind of opened up to Howard Stern being like, man, you're really scared of this, like terrified of it. I get it. A lot of people were. I was a little bit in the beginning myself, but he went a little too hardcore. He was saying like, screw people who think differently and don't get the shot and all that stuff. So that kind of opened my eyes to Howard a little bit, like what the hell is going on? But I'll always love and respect the stuff he did in the 90s and the early 2000s. That was some great stuff, great radio, real fun shit.
I think the 2000s to me are the golden age of just radio. That's the serious stuff, especially. But even before then, when they like the Patriots Carolina Super Bowl happened, where Janet pulled her titty out, and then they just started like censoring everybody. But especially Howard Stern, he was being censored like crazy. While I was listening live, they would just cut his show off, and I'd be like, "Wow, like this is some wild stuff." But yep, and then he went on Sirius, and I mean, go listen to it. It's all out there, pretty much, a lot of it.
Yeah, his stuff with Artie Lang, the whole Artie Lang era was crazy. There's a lot of great radio, great stuff, riveting stuff. They had a lot of drama on that show, like just unbelievable amount of drama. Beetlejuice was always one of my favorites because he was just so entertaining and funny.
Hopefully someday we can get close to replacing it in the wrestling world, so to speak. We got close the first time. We were getting there. We had whack packers and everything. Holy wacky ass wrestling fans. But we're getting them back. They're starting to come back slowly but surely. But thank you for coming on tonight.
No problem, dude. My pleasure. Appreciate it.
We could go on for days, but we've said it all tonight. I'll definitely have you back on if you'd like to come back on. And do you have anything you want to plug to everybody?
Yeah, really just, hit the follow button if you like what I had to say tonight. If you'd like my takes, go ahead, follow me there. Facebook.com/PWP Nation is where I'm the most consistent, putting out the most content, and has the most comments and ways you can get involved in the conversation. So Facebook.com/PWP Nation, at PWP Nation on all social media platforms. And of course, myself, Jay Aletto, that's ALLETTO, brother.
Nice. Again, thank you for coming on. Great guest, great chat. King Reezy in the house, Philly Sports Pride. Shout out to everybody out there that's watching and is going to watch in the future. This will be on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, a bunch of different places online. So all the people in the future, shout out to you. Don't forget, we got a store on Teespring. We got the album out. Another album coming this year, maybe even 2. I already got 2 done. And we got all kinds of stuff happening. More shows. The expert wrestling panel on Saturday, 2 p.m. If you ever want to come on that sometime, Jay, you're welcome. With all
keep it in mind.
And we talk to all the kids in the afternoon. But all right, that's it for us. Everybody have a good night, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Titillate the juices. You know what? Woo! Right now. Woo!
Dr. Hughes invites followers. Oh, let's see if they increase now. Me too. Yeah, wow. Dr. Hughes.
Monkey Smoke.
He's a great podcaster.
Tricky Smoke.
Acknowledge me.
We coming for you, nigga. Fat! Yeah, Dr. Hughes, here we go. Keep plugging yourself, that's cool.
First up, a man whose looks will serve your inner needs and desires.
Dr. Hughes.
Oh, yeah, fuck, dropping fucking loads.